YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Wow was right. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to Overwatch 2. Thank you for stopping by. This video is going to pertain to how I hit GM over this long period of time of playing Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. Just a little bit of tips and tricks, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, YouTube, so this is kind of like a gameplay review on tips and tricks on how I got to GM. We're playing on King's Row, so I usually like to start off by looking at my team comp. I never usually pick my support character. It doesn't matter how good I am at that character because I know my limits. Like, I know my accuracy is not the greatest, and I know some people like to pick other things, so I do whatever I can to make things easier on myself. I don't always try to one trick. So number one tip, do not one trick. Try to be versatile in various things for various scenarios. And number two is look at the team comp to start off with. And then let's say you have 3 characters you play. I like to play Zen, Moira, and Mercy. However, sometimes I like to go Ana. Ana is only the kind of, when I have a lot of DPS, I tend to stay back. I have a Reinhardt, and it's a Reinhardt versus Reinhardt scenario. I definitely play Ana into that because I can heal my Rein and anti their Rein at the same time up until they get a Kiriko. So I decided to pick Mercy in this game here because I noticed a couple of things. They picked Sigma. Now, Sigma is a good tank in this meta. He's always been well balanced. And if people aren't pressuring him too much, like if the Reinhardt's getting in his face like that, like he's not really that effective. But when they have someone like Bastion or high DPS, he's really, really good because what he'll do is he'll just eat all that damage up and then gain it back as health for himself. So I already know right off rip that I should pay attention to my tank. However, there's going to be times where he can heal himself, and I gotta be aware of that. So when I know he's using his eat, he can heal himself, so I don't need to necessarily pay attention to that right away. But if I see him use it and his shield goes down, then I know for sure I gotta make sure I heal him, pocket him until, you know, for a few seconds till he gets his health up, or until my healer gets back, until my healer starts healing him or anything like that, and I go right back to my DPS. So I have Genji and I have McCree here. Two DPS that can't heal themselves. That would Genji might want to flank or go into a dangerous scenario, and McCree is just a hit scan, so I know he won't be going in their backlines too much, so I won't need to, you know, pay attention to him too much. Who's going to be protecting my Ana back there. That's another thing as well. So at the start of the game, I noticed we had an Ana or a Kiriko at the start. So we have a Kiriko here. Kiriko I mean, she's still good for healing, but she did get a nerf, so it's not the greatest. It's the Zuzu that's still super strong. But I know she's able to heal everyone and my tank, so I can focus on damage boosting my DPS like as much as humanly possible. I do pay attention to heals and stuff like that, as you always should, but I try to damage boost as much as possible. This is just going for Mercy, that is, right? So I'm sticking on my McCree here because, again, he's hit scan and it's going to be more effective to use him at this particular moment. He's playing a little bit aggressive here. I can damage boost because I know my Kiriko is going to heal him as well. The time I decided to go on Genji was when he had Blade, which is fairly obvious, you know, damage boost the Blade. That's why I vouched in that last fight there. I'm not going to go get that because he's dead. I would try, but they also use Bob here, so I'm just going to keep healing and damage boosting my McCree. I have to heal my tank here until he does that, and then I no longer need to do it anymore. I go back to my McCree, just like that. My McCree's low. I just heal him up, and I go back to damage. I see him, boom, damage boost. So I'm doing that as much and as humanly possible as I can throughout this entire game. I am also very aware of my positioning. I'm not going to fly, like, since Mercy got nerfed, even though she got nerfed but still super strong at the same time, I'm not going to be flying around. This actually plays to my playstyle because I never have been a good Mercy main. Like, I'm not one of the people that fly around, do everything, can get to everybody and everybody. I'm not the greatest Mercy, but I am very aware of my positioning because I know that my DPS and my tanks need me alive. Obviously, I'm the support character, right? So I try to position myself where I can heal and damage boost without putting myself in line of sight of any of their hit scans or DPS, and just let everyone else go to work. So I probably should have valked a little earlier in that last fight, but we're winning, so I don't need to. and we're pushing it forward, so none of it's really necessary. But positioning is super key. I wish my McCree was not there at this time when I was playing the game, but it is what it is. I go to heal my Genji because I know he's going to be in trouble. I Valve just because I know they're coming out, and I put myself in a really bad spot here. My Kuriko died from the soldier, and everything's just going chaos. My positioning's terrible here, even though I did get the res off. I should have died, and I did die. So we ended up losing that fight and going to the next one. So again, I'm always constantly looking to make sure my back line is not getting healed. So we're healing one another, making sure my DPS characters are getting damage boosters so they can get their damage up, so they can get their ults, and making sure they healed, because they are playing a little. We don't have our tank right now, so they are playing a little bit aggressive. But again, I'm supporting them as much as I humanly can, and now my Sigma is back. So again, I'm paying attention to a variety of things around me here. Again, I look at my positioning. I'm trying to stay out of line of sight because I know they can shoot me through there. Just heal out of line of sight. It's unfortunate that the Orisa popped her ult here, so I'm not going to go in that. No thank you. I'm just going to back up as much as possible, healing my DPS, but he wants to go in. My Sigma is out of position, so I have to just let him die and make sure my DPS stays alive, but for some reason he wants to go in. Good Zuzu there. And I'm just going to back up. Again, I'm healing my DPS while my other support is healing me, because she knows I'm going to get hit, which is very, very good. I have to admit here my team was pretty good, and especially with their positioning and not, if they realize they're low health, they're not usually running in by themselves. Sigma ults here, unfortunately it got ruined, so it's okay. I'm doing my best to keep my teammates alive. I knew there was an Orisa in there, but I didn't want to go in there and be part of that utter chaos. I did kind of make a mistake there. I realistically should have just walked the other direction and healed my McCree there and just kept him alive. Sometimes you have to let people die in order to win the fight. It doesn't make any sense, right? Because you want to keep everybody alive, but sometimes you gotta let some people die and make sure someone like McCree or your tank dies. Now my tank did kind of go in kind of deep, so I vowed to try and save him, but it was too late. So that was a mistake on my part. So I made two mistakes there. I should have just made sure I stayed back and kept my McCree up in my positioning instead of going around and letting my McCree die and then rezzing the Genji, because the McCree would have more of an impact. And I think at this point in time he had ult charge. So now here's the thing, the comp switched up a little bit here, okay? So I have McCree, a little bit, my tank switched, to be honest. My tank switched, so my attention switched a little bit. Zarya can heal herself, she get her shield back, but that depends on how the Zarya plays. Now when I play Zarya, I like to get my 2 bubbles in, get my high charge, kind of play like Reinhardt, play around the pillars, play around cover, play around boxes, anything you can find until I can get like 1 or 2 bubbles up, then I can play aggressive, or if their cooldowns are off, then I can play aggressive, or if I'm getting a pocket at Zarya. However, I wasn't getting up. I had to switch to focusing her because I knew she was going to play aggressive and get her bubbles up, and once her bubbles up, she's a free target. So in that last fight, she died incredibly quickly, so I wasn't able to keep her alive, which is very unfortunate. So I couldn't just pocket my DPS. Even as much as I have a Kiriko, I couldn't just pocket my DPS. I need to make sure she was alive, as well as if she's got high charge, she can do a lot of damage. And since she's going to be up front lines, it's going to be very dangerous for them. Okay, so not a whole new comp. We still have the McCree and Genji. Oh no, McCree and Hanzo here. And then he went back to Sigma, which was very good for our team composition. So right now, again, if you play on King's Row, there's usually almost always a Widow. So I like to play right by Hotel here. So I'm out of line of sight, but I can still heal them. And I'm paying attention to my DPS right here because I see him going on the flank. I had to make sure my Sigma did not die there, as we all get hit by the fire. Now they're pressuring us. He's low, he's got his E, so I make sure I heal everybody else up first, and then I go right back to him. Hanzo gets a nice ult, and we move forward, and I'm damage boosting to see if we can get some kills. I'm letting him know like there's a Baptiste above you, but my Baptiste got him, so it's all good. Now this game was fairly like one-sided, as you can see from the first round. We got it pretty quickly, even though we didn't get the full capture. We got it there pretty quickly. We kind of just messed up on our ults a few times and made a bunch of crucial mistakes that could have easily made us even easier on ourselves, but it is what it is. So I decided to look at the scoreboard because I need to know whose ults are coming up and who I need to be aware of to like keep an eye to help them with their ult. And again, I valked because I thought they were going to push in, and we all ended up spending our ults, which is terrible. Which is very tough. We ended up spending 4 ults. I go Battle Mercy just for the hell of it because we had already won the fight, and it didn't work. So I decided to just go back to healing my team out of line of sights and make sure I stay alive as much as humanly possible. Now back to, see, I should be damage boosting a little bit more, but again, you have to be aware of your support character. Or your, not your support character, your support teammate, because if Baptiste is not doing as much healing, he's more DPSing than healing, then I need to make sure like I'm healing more than I am doing anything else. And especially during Ramatra ult, you just gotta make sure you heal because he's gonna be damaging everybody. Okay, so here my Hanzo's a little bit out of position, but again, I can't go too far. I can get this res off because there's a shield there, so I'm gonna go try for it. I have people supporting me. I get out of line of sight so that Arista is trying to come. I try to heal that McCree, but he rolled out the way, so I didn't need to, so I just backed up behind the statue. My Hanzo's still trying to push up, and again, I'm gonna make sure I stay alive first, because me being alive is way more important than, well, I mean, everybody's life is way more important, but I try to make sure I'm not in any position to get killed. But this turned clearly into a cluster mess, and we ended up losing that fight. Not sure 100% what went wrong in my position there. I think it was just overextension by everybody else, but I mean, maybe I could have popped Valk or something. We know it's all about progress and getting better and seeing what you could have done better. But again, see my positioning. They have the window top left there, and they have a choke right there. But if to your left there's a little door, yeah, they can come through there too if someone decides to flank. So I'm trying to keep eyes on everything, staying out of range of their hit scans. Now both my hit scans went up top. I go up there because of 2 things. 1, they're low, and 2, I get the feeling that someone's going to jump up there, so I want to support them, and it's really good to have the high ground, so I'm trying to support them. Unfortunately, the Kiriko comes up there and 2 shots my Ashe, so I try to get out of there, even though I could have fought her and eagled her, but I didn't want to. One other thing I could have done is pop Valk to probably save them both, but again, I didn't want to. It was a losing fight, so I might as well just save it for the next fight because we were holding them at choke. They have a long ways to go, and we could use this ultimate for the next fight. I just try to make sure my Sigma stays alive because you don't want to stagger here. And coming up here is going to be something very, very crucial if you pay attention. Notice how I left my Sigma. I left my Sigma because I believe he had ult and I didn't want to die. He's low on HP and I very much could go and try to heal him, which is exactly what I do. I pop Valk, that way I'm getting more healing out and I'm trying to heal him. I'm back against the wall and I'm staying out of line of sight. I don't know why they're shooting me, why they're not shooting me, but they were. And then Hanzo, Ashe were able to come over and help me and Sigma take care of the rest of the team. Again, you can't be afraid to pop Valk to sometimes get to your teammates and heal them sometimes. You can't be afraid of that. You can't just heal, always just pop Valk in the middle of a team fight or just before a team fight or anything like that. Don't be afraid to just use it to get to somebody and heal them. Like if I had Valk here and he was about to die as the fight was starting, I'd Valk get to him and make sure he stays alive here. So that's what I'm trying to do. We have, if you want to also if you want to pay attention to which DPS you should be pocketing, it really depends on who, personally me, who's doing better. Because if you help someone who's not doing good, they could probably come up to like mediocre, you know, they just play a little bit better. But as opposed to someone who's not getting pocketed and they're already doing good, that takes them above. So you want to try to pay attention to that. So who's ever got the hot hand, I usually try and pocket. So for this instance, I have an Ashe and a Bastion. I like to pocket the Ashe as much as possible, right? And then when I see Bastion go into turnip form, I immediately turn and damage boost him because him in turnip form with a damage boost is absolutely deadly. So that's what I try to do. I try to help the Ashe as much as possible so she can get her, you know, her bob and everything like that. And then when Bastion goes into turnip form, I help him. Valk, because the fight was about to start, and I'm healing my team as much as possible. Healing. healing my tank because he's in deep, and that's just how we win. Anyway, it's been your boy Wow is Right, and I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of tutorial video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, peace.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.